Hello folks, so I'm back in glorious England. It's good to be back home. I had a decent time in the Canary Islands. It was a decent stay, okay, it was pleasant and overall I enjoyed it. I got a good bit of travel done, saw a different culture, saw a slightly different system, and actually got a lot of other quite productive things done. So overall, happy with the trip, but I was really happy to come home and now be back around friends and family and be able to do things and interact with people. So what kind of prompted my hasty return, because I'm returning 4 weeks earlier than expected. What kind of prompted that was I was getting really isolated and feeling really lonely, and I didn't really expect I would feel like that when I booked the trip. I didn't expect that I would experience that challenge because I simply haven't been alone for as long as that. In total, I was only there for 5 weeks, so it was an enormously long trip. And I was working remotely the whole time, so I was doing my job remotely, sort of the mornings and mid-afternoons, and then once work was done, I'd go to the beach and lie on the beach or walk around, do photography, see the sights. I also trained a lot in the gym. I trained 5 times a week, so it's good to be back in the gym. But, you know, What wasn't very useful was the fact that my Spanish skills aren't great yet. I've been working on it for a while. I'm going to keep working on it, and I will get there. But at the present moment in time, my Spanish skills aren't that great. I can get by. I've got a rudimentary understanding, and I can understand. But there's still some work that needs to be done. So I wasn't actually able to have interactions with people like I would like to have, and that we kind of need to be able to have if we want to maintain our mental health. So as such, I started to suffer after a while, and made a hasty return because I was turning 30. Turned 30 yesterday. Happy birthday me, the big 3-0. And I wanted to celebrate my birthday with friends and family, and it felt good to be around people again and be able to interact with people again. So the decision was the right one, for sure, definitely. Just want to comment a little bit about the Canary Islands. So climate-wise, it's really nice, beautiful, warm, sunny. Practically every single day was very warm, very sunny, great quality of light. I follow Jack Cruise's work, so I think light is extremely important for the mitochondria, and I do feel healthier and more capable. So a lot of healing did happen simply being in the light as much as I was, because it's full spectrum light. And if you're interested in that subject matter, you can find Jack Cruise's talks on YouTube and stuff like that. But you know, some components of it though, after a while, became quite tiresome. It's difficult to meet people, it's difficult to like interact with people. And even though I was going to the gym like 5 times a week, you know, because my Spanish skills aren't that great, I couldn't really have conversations or anything like that. But culturally, it's different from the UK, very different. People are different, they're more conservative, they're less apt to talk to others. It's a smaller population, and I think if you're a stranger there, you can stick out like a sore thumb. I probably did. But you know, when you travel, you see other systems work slightly differently, other countries work slightly differently, and certainly when you don't know the language that well, you can put yourself at a higher risk of having quite awkward interactions, right? And I was able to get by for the most part. I was able to shop and go to places and do things for the most part. But I just want to relay some stories of some slightly weird and awkward instances when I was travelling. So there was one day where I had a really weird, awkward day. And that was when, after a few weeks, I wanted to broaden my horizons in terms of shopping. I was going to the local kind of chain for the most part. It was called Hyper Dino. And that features a caricature, like a caricature of a dinosaur, which definitely doesn't resemble the reptiles that dominated this earth. Yeah, so anyway, I was mostly consigning myself to the local supermarket, but I went further afield because I wanted to sample some of the delights from back home. So I went to a Lidl, which is a slightly better store, and had a better range, and I went there. did my shopping, wandered around, got bits, and then when I went to the till, I noticed a till had just become free because a cashier had just jumped on it, and to save myself a few minutes, or so I thought, I made my way over, put my stuff down, greeted the cashier, and waited for her to start scanning. So at this point, it gets kind of awkward, right? So sometimes when you're in a different country and you're around a different culture, things are done just slightly differently. Okay, and you can make errors and you can do things that are probably a little bit frowned upon. You can behave in ways which aren't the norm in that part of the world, and it can feel a bit uncomfortable, but sometimes we don't really know we're doing it. It's just the nature of the planet that we're in. It's a big old place, and there's differences in different parts of the world. So I greet the cashier, young lady, and then go over to the other side, get my bag out, and expectingly wait for her to start scanning my shopping so I can get my stuff, pay and leave. So usually when you are in that position, they ask you if you want a bag. So at that point I would say no necesito un bolsa or tengo un bolsa gracias. Basically just says I have a bag, or no, I don't need a bag, thank you. But this lady didn't say that. She didn't in fact say anything at all. She sat on the till, kind of pressed the button on the monitor, and then just began to stare directly into the monitor for a minute, and then 2. And then when it got to 2 minutes, at that point I was looking around and thinking, what, everyone else is scanning, like what's the issue? And I was kind of thinking, well, possibly there might just be an issue with the till. Maybe she has to wait for a manager, get someone to authorize something, or maybe she's forgotten a code or something, I don't know. But she just kept staring and staring and staring and not doing anything for like 3 minutes at this point. So at that point I get a little bit anxious and look around and think, why on earth isn't she scanning? If there's an issue, she needs to say something. She could prompt me and I'll do what needs to be done if it's something that I'm doing. But she didn't throw me a bone at all. She just kept staring straight at the screen, right? So at that point I'll look around and I think, well, maybe this is one of those strange cultural things. Maybe I have to do something to initiate. Maybe I'm doing something wrong, which is stopping her from starting the process. So to do a quick bit of problem solving, right, I just get my bag and I just move it slightly. So I turn it to a different angle. I'll just tilt it, okay, to indicate, look, I'm actually waiting for you. And at that point, she jolts to life and starts finally, after like 3 or 4 minutes, starts to scan, right? And as she's doing that, I think to myself, oh my God. Like, she refused to start scanning because I had my bag at the wrong angle. And I think to myself, that doesn't even make sense. And it wasn't happening in the other shop, so it can't be that I've missed like a social or cultural thing here. And I couldn't quite make heads or tails of it. I didn't understand what was happening. It didn't make sense. But at any rate, she starts scanning, and at that point, you know, a little bit of impatience starts to settle in. I'd been quite isolated and lonely for the weeks leading up to that, so, you know, I was not necessarily feeling so great. And at that point I just got a little bit angry and passive aggressively packed my stuff, right? And then paid her and like passive aggressively like took the receipt and was like, thank you, have a good day, and walked off. And you know, as I walked off I just said under my breath, unbelievable, unbelievable. You know, she sat there for 4 minutes, didn't say a goddamn word, and it took me having to like angle my bag for her to start doing a goddamn job. And I thought to myself, this is just so ridiculous. If there's an issue, the customer's doing something wrong, say something, use words. I'm not telepathic. I can't read your mind. I'm not even from here. I'm just trying to like do my work remotely and, you know, respectfully enjoy the environment here. But no, it wasn't to be. So I left quite sour actually. And carried on moving. And that was a strange experience, right? But another thing I want to comment on was culturally, some challenging things happened when I was over in the Canary Islands. So, you know, I couldn't believe the kind of homophobia that I saw. It was pretty uncomfortable for me. I'm a straight person, yeah. I love women, but in the way I'm raised and the country I live in and the kind of work I've done, the people I know, doesn't allow me to discriminate. It's something I wouldn't do. I'd feel very ashamed of myself if I was to take an opinion of that sort, because I do believe that it's no way to treat a human being. You can respect other people's choices and their lifestyle, and you can leave them to pursue their objectives, and you can pursue your own. I want to do my thing in life. I want to move forward and succeed. I'm going to do me, so please, you go ahead and do you. But to be around people who would just casually throw around kind of derogatory homophobic terms a lot was really weird for me. It was really uncomfortable, actually. Now, I couldn't say anything because my Spanish simply wasn't good enough, and plus it was quite ubiquitous. A lot of people were just calling each other this like derogatory insult, and I simply don't understand it. I don't get it. I do not see the need. And I don't agree with it. But, you know, different strokes for different folks. I'm not going to criticise the people of the Canary Islands or people who... I'm not going to criticise them. That's their choice to conduct themselves how they want to conduct themselves. But what I will say is I'm glad that I don't have to see things like that here in England. I'm glad that we don't tend to have attitudes like that. We're quite socially liberal as a nation, and as such you can live whatever kind of lifestyle you want, and if you're a respectable tax-paying citizen, hard-working person, you'll be left to pursue your own objectives. I've got friends from all different walks of life, all different nationalities, ethnicities, sexual orientations. I respect them, they respect me, and I'm glad that I'm able to proceed like that because I think it's very healthy, it's very good. So for me it was super weird in the Canaries, because there was a number of occasions in which, you know, I'd be like taking pictures so people could kind of assume that I'm not from there, and they assume I wouldn't understand Spanish. And I would hear people like talking, it's like, oh my god, do you reckon that guy's gay? Do you think he's gay? Yeah, he looks gay, and things of this nature. And, you know, like, how could you ascertain that from me taking pictures? I don't get it. I guess I'm quite expressive as a person, I'm quite smiley, quite warm, and in some cultures that might be considered not so masculine, but here in England, that's, you know, I think people here, certainly in our professional culture, we're pretty good at communication, and being a good, effective communicator, being convincing, being able to speak to people, make them very comfortable, is a really positive thing, because it will help you in your career, and it will help you in achieving more and being effective in our modern world. But it was a bit different over there, right? So for whatever reason, I would occasionally get these kind of strange comments while I'm doing things, and like when I'm doing quite blatantly touristy things, and people could tell that I'm not from there, right? And they assumed incorrectly that I don't understand what they're saying. I kind of do. So I thought that's kind of weird, you know. But again, I can't criticise, I can't judge. To each their own, right? So finally, other than that, I mean, actually one other thing I'll say is, you know, it did really piss me off. I did post a really angry Facebook status about it, which I stand by, because I was pretty pissed off when I heard some of those stupid comments. But yeah, I'm not gonna like fester on that. It's a problem, but I think they are doing something about it in the Canaries, because where I was staying, you know, it's clear that homophobia is a bit of a problem, because there was a lot of signs plastered in the streets and like on bollards and on traffic lights and things like that, celebrating the LGBTQIA community and putting across positive slogans like end hate, end harassment, end homophobia and things like that, which is great, right? Because people should be left to pursue what they need to pursue and should be respected. So that's good. But equally still quite challenging to see, certainly if it's not something that you're used to. Now, I'm going to wrap that one up by saying, now to move on to a slightly different topic then, right? Okay, so I guess in hindsight, I'm just going to like review the trip to wrap this up. Honestly, it was a good trip overall. Traveling is a really good thing. You want to see other systems, you want to see other societies. It makes you appreciate your own if you like where you're from, like I like where I'm from a lot. It will make you appreciate what you've got a lot, and that's really important. Certainly as you get older, right? I'm 30 now, I've got a bit of life experience under my belt. And I do really greatly appreciate the system that we have here, and the standard of living we've got in England is excellent. It's world class. And I'm appreciative of that. So I suppose, in some bittersweet way, having kind of a shit time in the Canaries, with regards to like isolation, some of the cultural differences, kind of has worked in my favour because I've come back here really energised, feeling good, feeling healthy. The environment's really good for your health over there because it's like sunny and very energising, so that's cool. But yeah, very much back, glad to be back, and we'll be uploading regularly because I want to build this channel and capture some fun stuff here and get into video because it's kind of cool. I like it. I like riffing on different things. It's fun for me. Okay, so it's your boy, as they say in YouTube land, Earthbound Mystic, your personal bass yogi. I'm signing out for today, and thank you for listening to my trip update. Thank you for subscribing if you've done that, and if you haven't, please consider it. I'd greatly appreciate it. Like this video, drop a comment, and I'm very much looking forward to posting more content soon.